Hi, my name's Dee, your Professor of Woo Woo, and welcome to your special readings for not so much for the eclipse, we're out of the eclipse window now, but for integrating the eclipse energies. We've just had two very potent eclipses. I mean, all eclipses are supposed to be potent, aren't they? But the partial solar eclipse that was in Taurus gave us a great sense of promise. Not so much here's what you could have won, but here's what you can win. Whereas the Scorpio total lunar eclipse is more, and here's what you need to deal with while you're aiming for what you can win. Here's the crap you need to get out of the way. Here's the obstacles you have to overcome. Here's the things you have to let go of. Now, these eclipses, they're not just a 2-week length. As if you look at Dorotheus, he says for a solar eclipse, for each hour of the eclipse, you can assume that chart has power for a year. He's probably not phrased it like that, but it was a 4-hour long eclipse. This was really, really potent. This was very much awakening our minds or our souls or what have you into what we can achieve. Now, again, according to Dorotheus, an hour of a lunar eclipse is a month. I don't know how long the lunar eclipse lasted. I've looked it up a bit and I've forgotten already. I'm not sure I was even successful in finding how long it lasted. So comment down below. But as ever, I apologise that I have not been doing regular monthly readings. We've had some very strong astrology this year, and I have very much been, I'm not going to say been victim to it, because the majority of it has all been good. But I have been buffeted by it or kept busy by it, you know, between day job and out of work commitments as well. It's not left me a huge amount of time for filming. And of course, quick plug, I am working on my course to present through later this year through Bloodstone Studios about angels and demons in the chart and how they can be used for magical purposes and for interpretive purposes as well. But anyway, there is a timestamp down below for if you want to just fast forward past the waffle. But before you do, please listen to this once, because I'm going to say, watch your sun, your moon, and your rising if you know them all. If you've only got time for one, watch your rising. But your sun will be of a great help considering we're talking about eclipses. Ask a question prior to the reading. You'll have enough warning when I stop waffling. But take a moment, think about all of the questions or issues that surround you at the moment, and ask a question. But be aware of all of those questions, because the cards will answer what they please and not necessarily what you or I think is the most important one. But focus on one of the questions because it gives energy to the process. And the more, you know, energy in, energy out. So obviously all that good YouTube stuff, like, share, subscribe if you like it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I need to say. Oh yes, the other thing that kept me away from the readings was studying my astrology and learning the astrology, which, still working on that. Got distracted by angels and demons, so still working on my basic astrology. But as you can see from my bi-weekly videos with David, I'm getting there. You know, another 6 years, I'll be fine. Can't think of anything else. Please do comment down below if you've already had an effect from these eclipses. And so I will bring the readings up. So here's your timestamp, and we'll shoot. So it's the same intro for all of them. Next time you watch this, fast forward through it and just go to the timestamp if you watch your more than one reading. All right, see you in a moment. So Pisces, these eclipses occurred in your 3rd and 9th houses, your houses of basic learning and higher learning, your houses of the near environment and the far, the traveling, the foreign countries, the new territories. Also, ninth house is spirituality to I was going to say to a great extent, but no, it's spirituality. Now, this is unfortunately the second time that I am recording this reading, because I just double checked the footage, and I managed to not turn the microphone on for the for the first go through. So I suppose in a way that's not a bad thing, because it's quite a complicated reading. Um, Although I hope I'll be able to duplicate my process of thought for you. So we start with the Queen of Cups clarified by the Knight of Cups. Now, that's all lovely emotions, it's all very it's territory that we know, Pisces, isn't it? There's but they're not initially working in harmony one another. If you notice the Queen of Cups here, let me hold it where the camera can see. She's actually got a hand over the top of the cup. So it's the Knight of Cups brings in an offer. Could be a new dream, could be a new love. And it's almost like the Queen of Cups' first reaction is, oh, hang on a minute. I'm not sure if I want to reveal the contents of my cup to you. That's the distinct impression that I'm getting from it. Now, I'm not saying that she's not going to reveal the contents of that cup. Just her initial reaction was, "Whoa, hold on a minute. There's the Knight of Cups in this particular deck. I'm not a huge fan of, because rather than being a horse and being on a horse on a barren land where he's coming to water, where he could get off and start farming and turn the land green, this one is flighty. This one is slippery. So it's almost like this offer is given, and where you say flighty and slippery, you can also say agile, adaptive, really able to, excuse the pun, go with the flow. But it's almost from, I would say it's from another world, but if you look, they're both aquatic. Okay, the knight is and his fish steed are in the air, so they're out of their element. Whereas the Queen of Cups is sat underwater, is sat, so that they're both able to be aquatic. But that Knight of Cups brings in some element of difference, some element of newness. I didn't pick that up the first time round. And which may be the reason that the Queen of Cups immediately goes, oh, no, hang on a minute. Now, against this, crossing this, we have the Page of Swords and the Three of Cups. So, as we know, the Three of Cups can talk of friendship, but it can also talk of betrayal. It can talk of, some people use it as a third party thing. Threes indicate movement, but here the movement is crossing you. Here the movement is against you. And it's clarifying the Page of Swords. Now, where other people are affecting you, we have the Seven of Cups and the Eight of Swords. So lots of options being presented to you. Nevertheless, what's being presented to you is causing you anxiety. So what I'm feeling with this Page of Swords, which represents information, is that there's a lot of tittle tattle, a lot of he said, she said, a lot of did you know that they did this? Did you know that they do that? Do you know this? Do you know that? Now, what I want to focus on in this reading is not what other people are saying, whether it is true or not. It could easily be false. It could be gossip that's got blown up out of all proportion, or has just taken one thing out of context, or, a whole number of reasons. You know the reasons why people learn things and pass them on, but they've only got half the story, or they've got something wrong, or there's been some exaggeration. But whether what they say is 100% true or 100% false is irrelevant here. What I want to look at is your decision-making process. We have, and the reason why this is actually a positive reading, we've got a good ending, which I'll get to when I get there. But on the bottom of the main deck, we have the Sun card, followed immediately by Judgment. So, you're getting all major arcana here. So Sun, Judgment, and the Magician. That's a really nice basis to be working on. So again, the Magician can be a trickster. That's worth bearing in mind. But the Sun indicates it's the happy, happy, joy, joy card. There is a wonderful basis for all of this here. Now, since I want to talk about your decision-making process, that basis is you. The reason I say decision-making is that on the bottom of the clarification deck, we have the Page of Swords, then followed by the Star. So the Page of the Swords is very curious, wants to know, wants to find things out, is seeking that clarity that the Ace of Swords can give. We have from the Fallen Angels deck, Vapula, with the little tagline of command. Now, Vapula very much represents 3rd house, 9th house activities because he promotes learning, and he promotes what can be called higher learning, the theoretical science and the philosophy and the arts. But he's also someone who encourages plumbing, woodworking, basic. Basic's the wrong word. More in the material realm. That's the word. Practical applications of the knowledge, rather than just going off into some intellectual la-la land. So it's like, yes, learn this higher stuff, but also have a reason for that. Have the ability to apply it to the world. Do some good. It's all right knowing all about flow mechanics, but if you can't build a pipe network to irrigate a field, what's the point? So he represents in this card very much about taking command of your life, and command is a really interesting statement that we've got for this reading, because you've got all this gossip, you've got all this from other people that you don't know whether to believe or not. And the thing is, that's fine. You don't need to know whether to believe it or not. You need to focus on your own intuitions and your own fact-finding process. That's what the Page of Swords is saying. Hear something, don't believe it. Find out. Ask around, do some investigation, because whoever is bringing this offer to you, they are accepting or rejecting that offer is going to bring quite a large change in your life. And it's really important that it is you making that decision, not somebody else, because it's going to be hard work. What the Queen of Swords, what Spirit's bringing in is the Queen of Swords, throwing all my cards everywhere, clarified by the Ten of Wands. So the Queen of Swords, I often say harsh truths, but on this one I want to say insightful truths, cutting truths. And knowing these truths puts a burden upon you. But it also is bringing a process, 10 of Wands, it's bringing the process to completion. So that burden, I'm not necessarily feeling is a bad thing. It's like when you're taking responsibility for something, you find out that something has happened or is happening, and you go, well, that needs sorting out. And you are taking on that responsibility to sort that thing out. And that's how I feel. However, you are going to get opposition. What you have in the 3D reality, the material world, to work with, we've got the Strength card and the Five of Swords. Now, the Five of Swords means conflict. It can also mean the spoils of war. But in this particular deck, it's more a preparing for conflict, being on guard, but it's also moving on. Notice how the wolves are running away from the fire, and the fighter, that side, the fighter will be going with them, because these are the same wolves that in this deck were standing guard over the fighter in the Four of Swords. So they are his allies, and they're going, right, come on, we're out of here. Because notice, his glance is not towards the wolves, it's out of the card towards whatever is approaching him. And that's what he's seeing as the enemy. But in the Rider-Waite deck, the Five of Swords is the aftermath of a battle. Picking up the spoils of war while other people have gone away defeated. That I'm seeing as a good sign. But here, there is that choice of whatever decision you make, there's going to be opposition. There's going to be conflict over it. And that's fine, because you've got more than enough strength to go over it. You have spent quite a long time building that strength up. In the past, we have the Hermit and the Chariot. So both cards of journey. Admittedly, the Hermit a bit slower than the Chariot. But it's also interesting that they are facing in opposite directions. So I'm getting the distinct feeling that the more powerful energy is obviously the Hermit here. So I'm getting the distinct impression of you've been pulled rather than pushed, pulled around by circumstance quite enough, and you have got to the point where you make the decision that, no, I'm going to decide the way that I'm going. I'm going to be the one that sets the agenda, sets the motion. And you have learnt both the strengths and the costs of that. And this, what's going on here, seems to be unfortunately, a repetition of that lesson, but it's a wonderful opportunity to see not that you are being delivered the lesson again. I want to see it more as sort of a test that here, let's have a look what you've learned. Let's have a look if all these lessons that you've had up to this point are the ones that you're actually going to use now. So, because this distraction of other people and the he said, she said bit, and the fact that these new responsibilities come land on you, there's a lot of pressure there. And I think what other people are saying and those responsibilities maybe run counter to one another. I think there might be, once you declare what your decision is regarding this offer coming in, this new dream, new love, new hope, whatever, drifted into Star Wars for a second there, that taking those responsibilities on board is again going to get criticism from other people, and there's other people aren't necessarily going to support that, because there's so much more that you could do. You know, Seven of Cups here, so much more that you could do. Why are you doing this? And the reason that you're doing this, you know, accepting or rejecting this offer, is that you have the strength to do what you feel is correct. One of the things leading me towards thinking this, we have from the Energy Oracle, the Rest and Rejuvenation card. Now we see a young man sat there meditating. He is taking the time to sit in silence. and there's all these wisps of energy around him, like spirit is caressing him, empowering him. That's taking a break from all that in the background from other people. You have decided that you are going to take charge already. This offer, whatever it is, throws you for a little bit of a loop, because it's like, now what do I do? Which option is me taking charge? Which option is me, if I accept the offer, am I submitting to the offer, or am I taking it because I decide it? If I reject the offer, am I doing that because that's what I believe is the right thing to do, or am I just listening to all these naysayers? Either way, if you are examining your decision processes, you are examining your thought processes here, then if you are making that decision because you are making the decision, not because of external pressures, then you're doing the right thing. Whether you accept or reject the offer, it doesn't matter. You are doing the right thing. Because the future that we're heading into is really interesting with that phrase, command, because we have the King of Coins signified by the Emperor. Now, the Emperor does imply those responsibilities that the spirit is bringing in, so they're not disappearing. But the King of Coins, if you hear some of the readers on YouTube that do the love readings, the King of Coins is all that, the clothes, the car, the house, the job, the personality, the charm, the resources, the dependability. That's a good thing. And clarified by the Emperor is saying that there's a strength there, and there's a sphere of influence there. There is that I'm not going to bring in too much of the qualities of Aries, because I would say that go-getter, but look, the King of Coins here is a great tortoise. He may indeed go get in the scales of tortoise time, but nonetheless, that's tortoise time. It's slower, but it's more sturdy, more progress. Really is progress here. Or the King of Coins is someone who's incredibly materialistic and is not seeing the higher spiritual aspects of life. The Emperor is someone who is controlling, whose word is law. And so this is dependent on your decision. And like I say, I rather feel that if you make your decision because of what other people say, rather than you making sure that you're making the decision because it is what you want to do and what you feel is right. These responsibilities that spirits are bringing in, they may create that reaction of, oh my lord, I need to do what? But at the very same time, they will be bringing in the reaction of, I need to do this, because if I don't do it, who will? Might be one aspect to them. Or basically, I need to do this to sort out my life, keep control of my life, whatever the responsibilities are, it is I need to do this. So you are accepting, spirit's giving you this huge basket of responsibility, and you're going, thank you, because it's the right thing. It's the next step. It is so obvious to you, even though it causes conflict. There's conflict enough caused by this offer coming in. Now, as I say, you can accept this offer or you may not. I do want you to listen to the gossip and the naysayers on one level. I don't want you to listen and take on board and have your decisions swayed by them. I want you to listen in the form of, harvesting the data and going, okay, they said this, right? What truth is there in that? And this person said that. And what truth is there in this story? And what's missing and what's there? And doing that investigation that I mentioned earlier. At least I think I mentioned it in this video. It might have been in the previous one. Because that's what the Page of Swords is demanding. But it's all linked. These responsibilities coming in and how you make this decision is all linked. And as I say, if you are making this decision through your own inner knowing, after both emotional and, if you want to say, spiritual or psychological, and material investigations and questions, then that's the right way to do it. If you either accept or reject this offer purely on the back of other people saying it's a good or bad idea, yeah, that's where you end up not submitting, having already submitted to this external control. And I think what you really want to do is harness this King of Coins Emperor energy rather than be harnessed by it. I actually feel quite positive with this reading, and I don't want you to think that I'm not being, because, like I say, Sun on the bottom of the deck, and it's a good ending. I'll get to the ending in a minute. So, the next point we have, the Magic Stream. Now, this, on first glance, is a card that you think, oh, Magic Stream, how wonderful. And it's going to bring your desires around. Yeah. But bear in mind that your desires are stated by how you make that decision. And if you make the decision by just listening to others rather than that soul searching, then that's exactly what you will get, and you will end up in that controlled situation. And if you, it's all interwoven. The message with the Magic Stream cards out of the Enchanted Map deck is be aware that everything is linked together. Everything is happening for a purpose. There is not just one cause for any one event, and there is not just one repercussion from any one event. It's all linked together. Then we have Sacriel, the Angel of Memory. Now, there's an element of memory being important in this reading, and I'll show why when we come to the final cards. But I'm wanting you to look at both good and bad memories here, because there's some bad memories. I mean, maybe this offer is a bit of a trigger to you, and it's like, oh, that's just like when it all went wrong that other time 5 years ago, or what have you. One message of Zachariel's card is put some of the bad memories aside. Just feel free to say, okay, you've served your purpose. I know that you're still there. I've learned your lessons. I can release you now. Or as it phrases it, put it in the cup of forgetfulness to make space for new memories. Because whatever happens, whether you accept or reject this offer, there is a newness coming in. You are well aware of this. How you are feeling, where you are in the situation, is the Death card, clarified, interestingly, by the Four of Wands. There's a commitment and a celebration there. So you're not totally alone. When I say that there's loads of people gossiping and naysayers, I think there's some people who are like going, you do you, and whatever you do, we'll celebrate it. But you are committing to something. You're certainly committing to this burden that Spirit is putting upon you. Even if you end up being controlled because of the way that you've made the decision, I think some of those responsibilities that Spirit have put on you will still be taking place. You just maybe won't get the benefit because of the reason that you've ended up there. But I really like this commitment to, it's a new day, it's a new me. And that's what these how you are feeling in the situation cards are saying to me that there is this commitment. So I'm not referring this commitment necessarily to the offer itself. You can commit to the offer, or rather, I want to say you can commit to accepting the offer, or you can commit to rejecting the offer. But either way, there needs to be that feeling of you committing because of the way you handled your decision process, not that you're just going along with it and you're agreeing to it just because it's, yeah, let's go for the easy life. There is in this, there's real points of pleasure here, but there's no easy life. Hopes and fears. Six of Coins and the Hanged Man. Will I be restrained by accepting or rejecting this offer? Will I, is there actual value in this offer? Questions that you need to ask because you're worried that you could end up indebted to someone. Again, whether by accepting or rejecting. That, and if you make the decision process in the wrong way and end up under, being harnessed by the King of Coins and the Emperor, then yes, you will be in some form of debt, in some form of bondage, in some form of having to obey their commands. Whereas, like I say, you can actually get the Emperor and King of Coins energy to be working for you. And it's basically, that's your option. You will work for them or they will work for you. There's no in between there. There's but I really like if this decision process goes the way that you are wanting. This, it's time for me to change. It's time for me to commit, or rather, I am changing, I am transforming, I am committing, comes to final outcome cards. We have Page of Cups, so it comes to a new beginning. It comes to not just a static, oh, I'm here now. It's almost like you've turned a path, taken a fork in the road. You've gone down one side of it. You don't know what's at the end of it, but you do know that you don't know what's at the end of it. And that is beautiful. With Ten of Pentacles and Six of Cups. I'm just going to focus on the Ten of Pentacles a bit for a moment. So as we know, Ten of Pentacles is another happy, happy, joy, joy, material happiness, family happiness, good sense of community. And I rather think that the two people talking over the fence are husband and wife in this picture. However, I do want to focus on the fence. The fence was quite important because it's as if somebody had come in from elsewhere. There was still a barrier there, not a very sturdy one, admittedly, and not a negative one. Whereas I'm saying there's this barrier, I don't think this is bad. It's quite transparent. There's only, three slats of wood across. You can see through it very easily. But there's that nice, careful little bit of distance. And because one's in the field and one's out, there's that sense of something coming in. So if you do the decision process in the correct fashion and you reject the offer that's made to you for all the right reasons, there's still that sense of something coming in for you, something that is opened up for you with that Page of Cups. And more importantly, it's something where with the Six of Cups, there's some values that you can rely on, some things that you recognize. Now, I want to talk about this Page of Cups because I did have to look him up. And let's look him up again. Here we go. So this is from the legend of Bakunawa and the Seven Moons from Filipino mythology. So here we see The Page of Cups is connected to his emotions. I mean, I often find the Page of Cups, certainly in the Rider-Waite, a bit wishy-washy. I don't find a wishy-washiness here. I'm finding a joyful incompleteness, because this Page of Cups knows that there's things he doesn't know, and what a joy it will be to find them out. The Page of Cups is connected to his emotions and expresses himself wholly with youthful purity. In this card, one of the 7 young moon siblings plays with Tua Shen, the Chinese god of same-sex relationships, who ties the red thread of fate that connects lovers. That's interesting. So there's 2 mythologies there. There's that 9th house element, because we're talking about Filipino and Chinese. And the same-sex bit caught my eye in the first way round, not because of same-sex, but purely because of the word same. Because with this 6 of Cups, like I think I just said, it's telling you that there is things that you recognize, values that you recognize, joys that you recognize, and they are all contributing to this center card of the 10 of Pentacles, which indicates stability. There's an element of material worth, but it also represents happiness and contentment. Now, the world isn't happy, content all the time, but that 10 of Pentacles is a wonderful foundation to build things on. But all of this is centered on what your decision-making process is, and how whether it is a literally be true to yourself, Pisces. Now, we also got, when I pulled an angel card, and I still can't pronounce it, Aihuia, who in the Angel Tarot is the 9 of Pentacles. Now, Aihuia is one of the Shem HaMephorash. They carry part of the name of God, and Aihuia's name means the omniscient God, the all-knowing. Remember what I was saying about the curiosity that this Page of Swords demanded. So listen to people to harvest their data, but what's the Reagan phrase? Trust but verify. I'm not even saying trusting, but definitely verify. Now, it says submission to higher order is what I hear is slightly about. Now, higher order can be a good thing. God, the divine, the guiding principles, however you want to look at it. The shadow side is you're submitting to control if you get the shadow side of that Emperor and King of Coins. Identifies traitors and destroys their plans. So, the reason I picked up on that is this 3 of Cups here. I mean, the 3 of Swords is a card that represents betrayal, but a lot of people say the 3 of Cups is a third-party situation. Not all of the information, not all of the naysayers or critics or what have you, they're not all operating in your interest. They are spouting off and quite possibly working on their own agenda, which is why you have to test what they say and not just swallow it hook, line, and sinker. But whatever decision you make, you are indeed transforming yourself and opening yourself up to a whole new world where, fortunately, there are some things that you can rely on in it. It's not like, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore, Toto. It's very much that loyalty and love and what is considered to be right and wrong are still present. The values that you want to take forward with you are values that you can take forward with you. I think that's everything. It's a really interesting reading. It is an extreme. It is either you end up in a happy place or you end up in a controlled place. And so having that personal discernment, which the swords demand, I'm quite surprised in a way that the Ace of Swords didn't turn up in the reading. But under the Ace of Swords, under the Page of Swords is the Star. That wonderful piece of information that is dropped into you, which is like a little explosion, like the divine inspiration. And that's followed on again, actually, by the Two of Wands, where there's the little bird advising the guy who's sitting down, taking the moment for that rest and rejuvenation, and listening to the voice of the divine, whether you consider the divine to be God or a creative energy, or whether you consider it simply to be, and this is the important bit here, I think, that spark of identity within yourself. That bit of you that when you go through a past life regression, you are able to stand back and look at a previous life. And in that process, you're standing back and looking at your current life at the same time. But it's that point of witness. You need to listen to that point of witness in over the next, according to Dorotheus, 4 years. Then again, it's good advice for life anyway, isn't it? So that is everything, Pisces. It was even longer the second time round. I do apologise, but there's so much that wanted to come out of these cards. Please do all that good YouTube stuff. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It really does help. I'm still chasing after that magic 1000. Go and watch your moon and rising, and bear in mind, if you've got the patience after all that, bear in mind there's a timestamp, so you don't have to listen to my 4.5 minutes of waffle at the start all over again. Okay, good luck, Pisces. There is such a beautiful transformation beckoning. It's literally all or nothing. Cheers.